All right, guys, we're gonna break the series. We're not gonna be talking about how fish react to baits, certain different angles in terms of how they react to different lures. For instance, like the drop, the horizontal presentation, deflecting on cover, and I lied. I forgot to mention top water too. Breaking the surface, creating some sort of erratic movement on the top. We're gonna break this series and we're gonna go into how I spool my reels and how I figured it out, how to maximize my casting distance with these spinning rods, with the jig head minnow being popular, the drop shot always in my back pocket tool in case things get tough, or if the bite's absolutely on fire with the drop shot. So let's get into it. Let's go. Let's begin. So I redid all my spinning reels just because. Let me just give you the reason why I decided to reset all my spinning reels to maximize casting distance. A couple days ago, I went to a local lake. I'm in Los Angeles, and the wind was outrageous. And I don't really keep up with the weather too much, especially if I'm fun fishing. I'm just going to go out there and just fish the conditions and not really worry about the winds unless it's a big lake that doesn't take wind lightly. But this pond, I feel like, if it gets 20 miles per hour, stuff is still fishable. But I noticed that, I'm throwing this jig head minnow, the good old mooch, on an 1/8 ounce, and I couldn't even get any distance. The max I could get was like 50, 55 feet with a strong cast. And that just ain't going to do the job. So what I did is I started from zero and I took all the line off. But I kept the braid on a spool when I took it off so I could reuse it. So I took off all the line and I kept the braid on the side to reuse. And keep in mind, what I recommend using is 8 to 10 pound test braid. Right now I'm doing a couple tests. Let me know if you guys in the comments want to know the review on these braids. So I got Beyond braid, yellow, 8 pound test, 8 strand ultra performance braid. And then I got the Suffix Revolve, ultra thin finesse braid, 8 pound test as well. And I'm going to test those, but right now what I have on is 10 pound test, Smackdown, I believe, I can't even think of it. I know, is it Seagar Smackdown braid in this high vis color right here. Boom. Okay. But yeah, I recommend 8 to 10 pound tests. Don't go north of 15 pound test braid on your spinning rods just because the casting, in my opinion, really just goes down the drain. But before you put your braid on, spool it halfway on your spool with some of your, 6 pound, 8 pound, 10 pound monofilament line hanging around that you just don't plan on using ever. So I don't ever use a CXX 10 pound test, so I had this laying around, so I was like, you know what, let's put it to good use. I spooled up half of my spinning reel, and I'm using the 2500 series spinning reel, and I'm filling it up halfway. And what that'll allow me to do is just to give me enough room for like 100 yards of 8 pound test to 10 pound test braid. And then after you put that monofilament on, go ahead and tie a uni to uni knot from that monofilament to that 8 to 10 pound braid and fill that sucker up. So when you fill it up, that spool right there, you see it? It's almost touching that gold. It's almost touching the edge right there, right? That's, I rather have more line than less line, because right when that line is just too far into the spool, it's not going to get that distance. There's just too much resistance between the spool and the line. And when you get that drag between that spool and the braid, it's just not going to fly out as far as you want it to fly out. But with this adjustment, after putting half of that monofilament on that spool and then 100 yards of braid, and then letting it have like little to no drag on that spool, that thing just flies out. Like you'll probably get at least 50 more feet off of that cast. So you can cast a full 100 feet into the wind or on the side of the wind. And then when you're casting with the wind, you could probably get 200 feet easily. And that has been a freaking game changer. So let me know in the description if you would like me to kind of test these out. So Suffix Revolve and Beyond Braid 8-pound test, yellow and then green. I'll go out on the day on the water and I'll do an on the water test. And I will not go lightly on these braids. I will fish them hard, and I'll swing that rod as hard as I can, and then I'll let you know what I think about it when I'm tying FG knots. So after I do spool up halfway with monofilament, and then the other half all the way up to the brim with 8 to 10 pound braid, I go ahead and tie on anywhere from a 3-foot to 14-foot leader of 8 to 10 pound test fluorocarbon for either mid-strolling, drop shotting, and etc. The only time I really do beef up my line is if I'm fishing in really heavy structure or I know those fish in that lake are not line shy. For instance, Clear Lake, I'll beef it up all the way to 16-pound tests at times. Over at my local pond, over at Castaic, I'll beef it up to 16-pound tests as well. And it doesn't seem like the big ones deep or the big ones up shallow don't really mind eating a drop shot with 16-pound test. But if you're going to Havasu or San Vicente, you definitely want to bring that down to like 8-pound tests, maybe as far as 6-pound tests if they're ultra finicky in the wintertime. But yeah, that is my tip when you're spooling up your spinning rod or your spinning reel. And same goes for, if you're trout fishing, cat fishing, or bass fishing, you definitely want to spool to the max your braided line at the end of that spool, because you're not going to get quite the distance that you want and this performance you want with your cast. Hope you like this tip. Comment below if you like this video and if it worked for you. If you have any other tips for other anglers, keep it down in the comment section. If I discussed anything that kind of is like mind-blowing, that's off to you, then you can go ahead and give me a little bit of a critique in the comment section. But other than that, keep on fishing and catch a big one. Peace.